I'm back again with another video, and today we're going to be going through today we're going to be going through 14, 15, 16. It says, when you are balanced with the selfish/selflessness, you will be able to give back to others without being jealous. So 14 is when you are able to have a balance between being appropriately selfish and selfless. You will be able to give back without being jealous. So in other words, what I'm saying is this: when you are in a capacity of, not having a balance of giving too much of yourself or giving too little back to the universe. For example, how can I say this? If you're a really selfish person, it's always about me, 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 me. And then when you see other people progress in life, what's going to happen is, what you're not realizing is that they have a balance between being selfless. They know when to give themselves appropriately, and you don't know how to give yourself appropriately. So when you're balanced, you can appropriately give not too much of yourself and not too little of yourself. Without being jealous of others and what they have. You have to have this balance. I spoke about this on 10.5, balance being key. Well, why is that? Because you're not putting more on yourself than you can bear, right? That's what we talked about in 10.5. Well, when you are balanced with the selflessness, you will be able to give back to others without jealousy. Sometimes, have you ever found yourself being in a predicament of giving to others, but you were truly jealous of what you were giving them? For example, lovers. You're giving love to people who don't deserve the love that you're giving. And then when they're in a position where they're no longer with you and they're with someone else, you're jealous of the life that they're creating with someone else. Well, why is that? That's because you gave too much of yourself, possibly too soon, or just gave too much of yourself, period. And when you're a selfish individual, you're not going to get a return back from the universe, because why? You have not been abundant for other people. So when it's time for you to get your divinity in life, you're not going to receive these miracles. You're not going to receive these blessings. Why? Because you haven't given something back into the universe. You have to put into the universe. So when you're seeing someone get this nice car, you're seeing someone get, a scholarship, you're seeing someone have certain clothes. Well, you're not seeing and realizing what they had to put into this world for them to receive the material things, or receive whatever type of love transactions that they're getting. You have to look at that. You can't just be jealous of other people, not realizing that you're not balanced with them being selfish and selfless. Okay? 15. Sometimes there will be growing pains that forces you to change your blueprint. So sometimes you're going to go through things in life that honestly are going to be hardening factors for you. And it's okay. Like, blueprints are not going to be set in stone. We are an evolving race of human beings. So, for example, just on a bunny trail, I like to always say that I don't truly know myself, and it's going to take a lifetime for me to know myself. I know aspects of my life. I know from past experiences what I like and what I don't like. But like my uncle, like one of my uncles always says to me, my Uncle Tracy said, within him being on this earth for 40 something odd years, it has taken him this long to figure out who he is and what he likes, and he's just now learning who he is. We're gonna be here throughout eternity, people. Like, whether we are somewhere in limbo, whether we are somewhere in hell, or we are in heaven, what I know for sure is that our energy is constant, and energy can only be transformed. You can't eradicate energy. Whoa, I'm not a scientist, so Don't quote me on that. But with that being said, you have eternity to learn yourself. This physical body that we're in right now, we're going to transform into something else later, for those of you who do believe in the afterlife. So understand growing pains. In understanding growing pains, what you have to understand is this: there is no life without pain. And I don't mean that to say that you're supposed to hurt and you're supposed to be depressed and you're supposed to be sad. No. What I am understanding about happiness is that happiness is a circumstantial type of thing. So when you have happiness, like I say, you hold on to happiness, right? So growing pains, when it comes to your blueprint, it doesn't mean that when things get tough, it's time to bail out. It doesn't mean to give up on yourself either. What it means is that you're going to go through things within your blueprint. When you create this plan, you're going to start to realize that there are some things about yourself that you don't like. For example, bringing us to back to 14, you may be a very selfish person, and it may do something to you emotionally, coming to grips with that. The fact that you haven't been very abundant for other people, or that you've been too abundant for other people, and now you feel like your blueprint is suffering because of these factors. I don't want for people to feel this way. All right, so 16. When you have a realistic mind, it is easier to induct a high perception in life. So when you change your blueprint, you won't be bitter because mentally you are prepared. Let me say that again. When you are realistic about your mindset, it's going to become easier for you to induct higher perceptions of life, and so that when you change your blueprint, you won't be going through the pain that I mentioned in 15 about growing pains. And bringing us even further back to 14, you will be able to understand how to be selfish. You will understand how to be selfless. When you have a realistic mind, you're understanding that, at this point in my life, I'm unable to give this much of myself to people. Or at this point in my life, I am needing to give more to others in order for me to grow my perspective, mind, and for my heart to form a healing process. Let me just go over these again. 14, when you have balance with the whole selflessness thing, then you will be able to give back to others without being jealous. There's some people in the world where when you give to people, people aren't receptacle to fulfill. Sometimes when you are giving to others, you're truly not in a place of really happiness in giving to others. You're just going through the emotions of giving to someone because it's supposed to feel good. This is what you do for the society. I'm only donating my clothes to Goodwill or Salvation Army because I'm gonna get a tax return. That's you being selfish. You have to learn to be selfless in this situation of, hey, there's a lot of people out there who don't have as much as I have. Like, if y'all was to see my closet. So I'm going to decide to give back to others, and it's going to make me feel good. I'm not going to feel bitter about this. It's going to be something that not only makes me feel good, but it's now giving me substance in my life because I have an equal distributed balance between being selfish and selfless. But I really talked about being selfish and selfless a lot in the last video. So if you guys didn't see that one, go ahead and check it out. Growing pains. The thing about growing pains is that I have always been told in my life since I was in elementary about growing pains. And growing pains are situational type of things of, oh, you have your first boyfriend, he cheats on you. You really wanted to get this scholarship, you didn't get it. You really had your eyes set on this certain home, but your credit score wasn't there. You wanted to get this car, but your income doesn't reflect, whatever it is. Your health may have taken a turn in life. These are growing pains. And these growing pains are also what has a lot to do with our status, influence, and name. Because when you have an appropriate relationship of understanding that growing pains are only making you better, and they're giving you more experience, is providing wisdom for you, then you're able to look at your blueprint and say realistically, okay, maybe I need to make some amendments. Maybe I just need to totally ditch this one and have a more realistic goal for myself. So sometimes there will be growing pains that force you to change your blueprint. When you probably sat down and created this blueprint, you probably were in a state of maybe being too selfless or too selfish. And with that being said, when you created the blueprint, you weren't being a realist about the goals that you're creating for yourself, which has caused you to have to look in the mirror and reflect and say, I have growing pains, and I'm a little bit upset about it, but that's why you have to be a realist. And we said that, which number was it? We said that in number 12 about being realistic about, just the perspectives in life. 16 will be